Hello everyone and welcome back to the Geotech Master channel. I hope you are all doing fantastically well. Today we are tackling a crucial aspect of geotechnical investigations, groundwater, a key element in geotechnical investigations.
So in today's video, we are going to be answering some critical questions, including why is hydrogeological characterization so important? What role does groundwater play in geotechnical analysis and design? What are the essential parameters we need to evaluate when dealing with groundwater? By the end of this video, you'll fully understand the significance of groundwater in geotechnical projects. So let's get started. Now, before we get started, in our previous videos, we've explored various aspects of subsurface investigations, from initial planning and in-situ testing to laboratory testing programs and material types. Now, we turn our attention to groundwater, an often underestimated factor that significantly affects the behavior of soil and rock and the performance of any construction project. If you haven't yet seen the earlier videos, especially the Geotechnical Investigation Essentials, I highly recommend checking them out. They provide a really helpful foundation for understanding the topics we discuss in this video. You can find the links to the previous courses and related videos in the description below. So why is hydrogeology important? Hydrogeology is very important in the geotechnical analysis, design, and performance of subsurface features in civil engineering construction and infrastructure. Therefore, a good hydrogeological characterization is essential for most subsurface investigation programs. We need to understand the distribution, thickness, composition, and continuity of the lithological units that affect groundwater flow. Without this understanding, our designs may be at risk.